Yo, what up? It's Adam. I'm going to be throwing this on my personal channel because this is a very personal video. But I wanted to go over my 1 year now back on YouTube. I came back around July 20th of 2023, whenever I made that return video. And now we just crossed that point in 2024. So I kind of wanted to go through every video that I've made since then and maybe just give a little bit of a history, a little bit of experiences I learned from it, and just talk about them, yeah. Also, this video is probably going to be very heavily edited. I'm very bad at talking in front of the camera. I already recorded this video like 3 times, and every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm rambling so much. I ramble all the time. So if there's edits in this, I'm also going to gesticulate a bunch. So I don't have my lighting set up. There's going to be a harsh shadow here. Stuff that I'm talking about in this area. Okay, let's get into it. So I did 9 videos for Ajakes. 6 of those were real videos, and then 5 of them were like feature-length, really big projects that I spent a lot of time on. Meanwhile, I did 25 videos for Studless, my Lego channel. I also had my Sonic AU channel, and I got to make 2 basically short-form episodes. Short-form, I don't know. They're like 5 minutes long each. I forget. I have to check. Those were basically my 3 channels. And then also on my personal channel, I made sort of a Halloween video, and then I also did a Lethal Company video. I'm sure you saw a lot of those this year. Another thing I forgot to mention is I was a character on my friend Colin's podcast, so we'll throw that in there as well. I also did some, freelance writing here and there. I'm not going to really promote any of that because it has my full name on it and stuff, but that's been chugging along as well. So in total, that's 38 videos within the 12 months. And wouldn't you know, I feel like I didn't do enough when I look at that stuff, which is a very bad mindset to have. I talked with so many people about this, and I know the correct way to think about it now, and I think I always did, but I at least wanted to talk about it here, so if anyone else is feeling the same way, they know that they're not alone. This happens to a lot of people. If we're looking at the business mindset of it, I lost like 1,000 subscribers from Ajakes, and Studless barely got to 1,000 within the year. Then I kind of failed, basically. But in the meantime, when I look at it, and I look at all my channels and stuff, I realize that I made 5 of my favorite videos of all time, all within 12 months. The videos that I made since I came back on Ajakes are like my dream videos that I've always wanted to make. And then Studless, I've had an ongoing series. That's taken breaks here and there. But I have a bunch of little episodes that I can watch, and I love to rewatch those. And I'm so proud that I finally got to animate this Sonic story that I had in my brain as a kid. It's like finally out of my head, and it's living now. It's out there, I think something I realized within this time is that I'm not good at making YouTube videos, and let me preface this a little bit. I don't make any videos, or at least I'm not focusing on videos in the way I should be if I wanted to grow my channel and make it big, I definitely know why I'm failing, but the recent videos that I've made, I'm so proud of. I don't think I am great at making YouTube videos in this current age, and I don't think I'm doing it in the way that I should be, and I feel very, very creative and personally fulfilled with the 12 months that I've had. It's really hard sometimes. I think it happens to everyone, especially now in this age, You're going to be hit with numbers all the time. It's going to be following you, and, you have to follow numbers to live, in a sense. At the same time, don't forget why you're making the videos. After this full year, I've never been more excited to get into the next year, because I look back at my track record and it's just like, oh, great videos in my book, because I love them so much, and no wonder, because they're all made specifically for me. They weren't made to cultivate any audience or something. And the few people that did come up and show up, I'm very fortunate to have, because I get to talk to them, and that's like one of my favorite parts of releasing any video, is talking to you guys in the comments afterwards. So don't make fun of my TF2 posters, okay? I'm not moving those. But I've been rambling here and there a bunch, so let's kind of go into the videos in specific, because there's little things I want to talk about each. Let's look at Ajakes first. My first video was kind of a video, which was just like my return video. There wasn't much really to that. Although I did like that I got to film it in the same exact position. I'm looking at my bed right over there. That I filmed my goodbye video in. And I was also wearing the same sweatshirt. I thought that was funny. The next video after that was my FromSoft boss tier list video. or Dark Souls boss tier list video. That's what I had advertised it as originally. This is a video that if I ever worked as like a content producer for another channel, this is the one that I kind of always wanted to pitch, but secretly I wanted to do myself. Like I knew it's like, oh man, if I got to do this idea, how would I make it? Well, you saw how I'd make it. It'd be overproduced. It'd be huge. It'd be, like maybe not edited as much as it should have been. It came out exactly how I wanted it. I'm really inspired by like a lot of like hour-long videos, especially ones that you can watch in chapters, which, every channel does that now. You see that all the time on mine too. I also got to film that video with Colin, who is great at kind of getting me back into making videos again. And I gotta say, I was surprised how well Colin did in front of the camera. Not because he'd be bad in front of the camera or anything, but because I think that's like the first time he ever really did anything in front of the camera. Obviously, we're friends, so we bounce off of each other pretty well, but I was surprised how easy it was when we got into the swing of things. The alcohol certainly helped in that regard. But yeah, I love that video. The video after that was the God of War video, and that was sort of the video Colin wanted to make, because I know when I was coming back, I was kind of too worried. So I was like, okay, I want to make a video I want to make, and then I want to make a video you want to make. So, come up with a topic, and we'll make the video of it. And he'd recently beaten God of War, so he wanted to talk about it. That's probably a better example of what I should have been doing, because it's much shorter, and it gets the point across way quicker. And you can make those videos fairly quickly. I kind of relearned how to edit through those, as well as, this was the first time I had used lights, and like lav mics, and basically filming IRL for a long time. All that fun stuff. The next video I made, which I kind of talk about it in my return video, but now it's kind of hard to find, is my, basically my animated shit post called GalacticLand, and it was supposed to be part of a way bigger thing that I'll explain now. While I was gone, something that I really wanted to do, or that I was planning to do, was I wanted to make a channel that was basically, it was like a fake YouTube channel that just featured every type of video you would find on YouTube, but they would just be very strange and uncomfortable, and then they would take turns into very bizarre places. And I ended up filming a couple. I even have some done, and I just never really put any of that stuff out there because I couldn't find a new place for it, and I didn't really think about, it's like, do I really want to start a new channel? Or I was even thinking like, oh, I'll just bulldoze Ajakes and put these videos up. I'm glad I didn't do that. It was supposed to like trick people into clicking those, and then when they would watch them, it would be absolutely nothing that they wanted. Anyways, GalacticLand was going to be one of those videos. The idea was that, I see a lot of animated pilots online, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if someone clicked on one of them and it's long enough that you think it is like an animated pilot, and then really it's just two guys talking with like no animation, and then within minutes it just there's not even anything on the screen. It's just a black screen and you hear people talking. And also the other kind of aspect was I was sort of starting to go into my Sonic video, and that GalacticLand video started to feel a little too cynical to me, because I just kept thinking someone was going to click it and think like, are you making fun of people who just try to make animated pilots? It's like, no, not at all, not at all. In fact, that would be hypocritical, because that's kind of what I eventually did on another channel. It just felt weird keeping it up there, especially with this whole backstory that no one even knew about. I still like those characters. I actually even wrote a bunch of stuff. I should also explain that those characters are from an actual pitch that I gave to Frederator Studios when I was like 19. And I had pitched 2 shows. GalacticLand was my second one, and it was very kid-friendly. While I was gone, I was thinking of tweaking it more into like an adult series, and then it got very serious. I wrote like 20 scripts for it, all like short scripts, and eventually didn't really do anything with it. I just kind of like tucked those characters into my shitpost category and kept them there. Maybe there's something to do with that later down the line. I can still always like look back at those episodes that I wrote and voiced. I have some that are like even done. Who knows? We'll see. This might not be the end for GalacticLand, but at least for now it is. And then came another tier list. My God, you thought you can go away. And this one, I didn't realize it, but there was restraint in that Dark Souls video. Because once I got the fucking okay for this Bethesda video, okay. I was like the one who was saying yes. I just was basically asking Colin, do you really want to do this, please? I love to do this. And then he's like, okay, fine. So once I knew that, I was like, oh, I'm going to make this 100%, 110% exactly how I want it. Because I knew when I was making that one, I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to watch this. So I'm just making this video for me, and I'm going to like overly edit it. I'm going to cram it with jokes that I think it would be funny. It's so long. That thing is like nearly 4 hours long. And I love that video, mainly because I love Bethesda games so unapologetically. That was like the only game series that I was playing while I was gone. When I was in like my little depression mode, I was like specifically only playing Bethesda games, like Oblivion, Fallout, for like years while I was gone. So I had so much like pent up, discussion, talking points that I wanted to get out there. And then once you put the liquor in me, my God, I was off to the races. If you somehow, I can understand someone getting through the Japan trip. I don't see how anyone could actually get through that Bethesda video. It is so long. You'd have to tackle it within like a year to actually get through it, because it's also so personal. Like, you don't really know me or Colin at all. So why would you watch that whole thing? I don't know. If you did that, bravo to you. Next up, we have the trailer for the Austin trip. That's just a trailer. So that came out, and then the video after that was the Austin trip. So I was excited to make another trip video, and I did attempt, I kind of talk about it in the beginning, a couple of those. Like I filmed the video with my brother in DC. I also filmed another video with Colin and Ewan when we went to Disney World. I saw all that footage, so those could become things, who knows. I finally got the energy to do it because everything was kind of like planned out by Ewan. We knew we'd be tackling these specific things per days, and it reminded me so much of Hawaii and Japan. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to film this all. We're going to do some fun shit, and it's going to be a video. It's kind of like a closer to the trilogy, the trip trilogy, as I like to call it in my brain. I will probably make more of those. I'm not saying I won't. But right now, it feels like a nice little, like, 1, 2, 3. And I did want to speak a little bit about the ending of that video. If you were following those trip videos, it's like Japan, such an exotic, crazy foreign destination. And then Hawaii is still exotic and kind of strange. And then we land on Austin. What I was worried of was people looking at those trip videos and thinking they're so much fun because they go to such crazy places. The only reason I ever enjoyed those is because I went with my friends. Another thing that happened while I was gone, while I was in my depression mode, is I visited Portland by myself. Ultimately, I didn't really have that great of a time because I didn't have anyone to share it with. And I started kind of yearning to hang out with my friends again when I came back. I didn't want anyone watching those videos thinking, I'm only going to have a good time if I go to a crazy place. It's like, no. Just find your group of friends and go anywhere. You're going to remember that for the rest of your life. I promise you. If only I could save up the money to go to Japan, I would have that great experience with my friends. It's like, no, you can go anywhere. You'll have that great experience regardless because you're with your friends, and that's going to be great. Anyways, Austin trip was really cool. In the meantime, while I was making that, I was also really pushing myself at the same time because I was making my little animated shorts for my Sonic AU thing that I have on my other channel. I would work on Austin trip at the first half of the day, and the last 2 hours at nighttime, I would work on my animation. I like draw frames for it and edit things and stuff. So yeah, I had this like Sonic thing kind of burning in the back of my brain while I was making the Austin video. And the entire time I was thinking, it's like, oh man, I think I really want to make a Sonic video. That'll be fun. And we'll go into that now. 20 years of Sonic, basically. I watched so much Sonic content as a kid. I watched so many people talk about Sonic as a kid. All these other YouTubers. It's like, I'd love to throw my hat into the ring and make a video about the series. But I had such a weird, wonky relationship with it that I kind of realized that that could be the focus of the video, because that way I could include all these different stories of, like me winning the stuffed animals in Vegas, me going to see the Sonic movie with Talon. Here's how I experienced this franchise and kind of like what it did to me as I was growing up. I think that video is probably up there with the Japan trip as one of my favorite videos of all time that I've ever made. The last 5 this year have definitely been that, but I think the Sonic video really shines through because you can tell how hard I worked on that thing. 2 straight months of working. I have never worked as hard as I ever have in my life. I would wake up, get my coffee, just edit or draw for so long and then like quickly have a 30-minute lunch and then get back to editing or drawing and then just do my short little dinner and then like edit and then go to bed. And I'd repeat that like for weeks over and over and over. And I thought this would crush me, but I was having the time of my life. I had never been more excited to make a video. You know, it also, that video helped me get back into drawing. I think the final number was like 2,000. I remember there was just a straight week of drawing that I spent. I loved it. I don't know. It was so much fun. I think I had just wanted to do that for so long and never realized it. I got a lot of comments from the people that I featured. Like the guy who I talk about his video made in 2007 of the crane game, he like showed up, Sonic Jerry. He showed up and he's like, oh, I'm glad that my video can help you. It's like, bro, you have no idea. Thanks for watching. A lot of the people from the voice acted comic showed up too. I wasn't expecting that because I don't really have a big online presence where any of these guys would find out about this. I only realized like right before I make the video that it's like, oh, if you tag their name, it gets sent to their thing. So then I kind of got a little bit nervous and I was like, oh God, they're going to see this. So what are they going to think? I hope they're okay with all this stuff. Like the leader of the project, Mario Kart Gamer Dude, she has a real name. I love the name Mario Kart Gamer Dude. That name was like stuck in my head for weeks. He saw that video and he shared clips of it online to like the rest of the cast. Anyone who shared that Sonic video, thank you so much. It means so goddamn much to me. You have no idea. Because I know that video can't really survive anywhere else. It's, yeah, like maybe you find it in your recommendations, but you see that time and you're like, I don't have the time to look at this, you know? People just even showing little clips and sharing it around. You have no idea how much that helps. Because it just, even if it brings one person over, that person will sometimes leave a comment and I get to talk to them. And it's just fantastic. I live for those comments. I remember I talked with this one guy for over like a week. We just kind of got into it and we would just like leave paragraphs to each other every day. And I love that. I love waking up and then being like, okay, what did he say this time? And I just kind of got to read through it with my coffee, like then the morning newspaper. And then I would like respond with my giant essay and we would just share our experiences with the franchise. It was so magical. I kind of started ending things because I was worried. I was like, I wonder if this guy is just replying because I keep replying, you know, and he's just being nice. So maybe I should just end things here so he doesn't feel like he has to do that. I even had Stephen Page from Baylina Productions. Like, man, if I could tell my younger self that the guy I left my first ever online internet comment to would leave a comment on one of my videos, I think my little head would have exploded. I even messaged the Wax. He's a guy kind of did a lot of the Sonic Paradox stuff. And I got to talk to him a little bit on Twitter too, just to thank him there. I wonder if those guys know that like those little videos that they made as a kid that they kind of like threw out there on Newgrounds would be like the cartoon series that kids my age were watching religiously online, grew up with, and now have fond memories of. Or maybe these guys were like, I just made that in an afternoon. Like, I didn't know anyone cared. And I'm going to circle back to that in a bit. Kind of switching gears here to my Sonic AU animated channel. We'll kind of talk about that because I made 2 of those little animated shorts. That was really nice to do, and I was really happy to do that. I feel like I'm repeating myself and saying, I was happy, I really like that. But this was no exception. I used to take, like, you know, storyboarding classes in college, and that was one of my favorite things, was to, like, get up there with your Post-it notes and your index cards and just kind of go through, and tell the story in front of the class. And I really hadn't done that for years because the way I always approached content within that time was, if you're not making it to be big, why make it? And I was so wrong. Like, clearly, just by me working on that within my free time while I was making the Austin trip, just shows that I was so hyped to make this thing that I was giving myself no pressure on. Because the way that thing is made, I mean, it's a Sonic AU. I know it's never going to be anything, and that's kind of freeing. It's creatively freeing. Because I can do whatever I want with it. It could be designed however I want. And, like, there's no stakes to it. It just gives me permission to kind of go wild. And I didn't realize how much I needed that. The Sonic AU is kind of, like, silly, I think, to a lot of people. I mean, I'm 28 years old. If I was around some of the people I used to have in my life, I think they'd smack me in the head and say, like, what the hell are you doing? Those voices come back to me a lot of times. It happens to me every time I make a video. You know, it's like, oh God, this didn't get a lot of views. I just wasted that month. That was so stupid of me. And I think people around me are going to call me out on that. But everyone who used to is like not really in my life anymore. Anyone who would have judged me harshly on that. And the only people I really surround myself with now are people who encourage me and push me along to make the things that I really want to do. So really, like, the only person getting in my way is myself. You know, a tale as old as time for anyone, and I'm sure you felt the same way if you make creative content. I encourage anyone to do something a bit silly. Make that thing that you always wanted to do. I think this is kind of a hard sell for a lot of people. A good way to kind of get them out of that would be to do some sort of tabletop role-playing game, like D&D. And now we'll kind of transition into, not my project, but something that I was featured in, was Colin, my best friend's actual play podcast, because that's actually what it's called. I just call it a D&D podcast because people who are older and I tell them about, they don't understand. But when I say D&D, they know what that means. All That You Know. That's Colin's thing that I got to be a part of. I was one of his characters in it. And we've been doing it throughout, I think it's been like a year and a half now. And we're set to record the final episode like within a week, I think. But it's been so exciting to see Colin finally get to put something out there. Because I knew he was going to be good at it. It's like no surprise. Colin's been running these things for like years. So like I always knew it was going to be good. But I'm just really proud of him for hanging in there and doing this. Like, he didn't drop off. He consistently did it for the whole time. And that's tough. I mean, look at me. I drop series all the time. And, you know, you get overwhelmed sometimes. But Colin's seeing this thing through, and it's going to be a complete story front to back, you know? It's phenomenal, the backstories. He's like the king of world building. I can't believe, like, how well thought out Terra Brea is, and the Soul Union, and the Peacekeepers. I don't want to segment him into just a world builder. He's a great storyteller, too. There's so many times where he surprises me. So many like dramatic twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, you know? I'm glad I have such cool friends. So yeah, All That You Know is finishing up. It's been really fun playing Joseph, the robot assassin. Clearly now I realize I have a huge infatuation with robots. I don't want to say that it was something that I made, because that's entirely Colin's thing. I just showed up and got to do funny, deep voices. But it was also still a creatively liberating thing that I got to do within the meantime. So I'm glad I did that. Kind of circling back, I did mention a little bit during the Sonic talk that, you know, some of these creators who made these videos on Newgrounds, did they know that, like, so many people grew up with it? I realized this for myself with my Rock Band videos. I always knew that people wanted me to make this again, because every now and then, whenever I put out a video, someone would just reply like, hey, are you gonna review Green Day Rock Band or Rock Band 3? What's going on with it? I really didn't think much about those videos because I made them during my free time in college. Between classes, I would hang out in like a study room in the library, and I would just like write them all, and I would like start researching everything. And then like when I went home, I would kind of just like quickly edit everything together. I probably finished those videos like within a week and a half or something, and I threw them up there. Like, I look back at them, and like 2 of them have over like 50,000 views. I realized that like a lot of kids grew up watching those videos as well. Putting that video out there and then reading the comments of people saying like, oh, I refreshed this constantly when I was in high school, hoping you'd put out another episode. It's like, I had no idea. Or like, oh, I watched this series, you know, when I was a freshman in high school. Now I'm like graduating from college. It's like, thanks for putting out the final episode. I was like, oh man, dude, that's so crazy. I have no, thanks for sticking around and watching this final video. You know, a big reason I didn't make that video for the longest time is because I kind of wanted to transition more into more personal videos, and I felt like those Rock Band videos were like super factual and informational and analytical. And I also noticed that whenever I do present that information, I get a lot of things wrong. I did in this final video as well. Thank God I have that corrections document. So it just kind of started off as like, okay, I'll just throw this together. People wanted it, I'll make it. But as I was going, I started to get sort of enveloped with how it would be designed and like the motion graphics and the look of the video. Like, that absorbed me for a week and a half. And when that had me, I was like, oh, it's like back to the Sonic video. I'm so excited to do this. Every morning I woke up and it's like, let's do the Rock Band video. Oh man, How can I use all these techniques that I've learned within these past 7 years and apply them to this final episode of this Rock Band thing? And then within that time, it was quickly becoming one of my favorite videos again. I was like so excited to make it. And then when I finally put it out there, I was like, oh, I rewatch it still to this day, and I love it. Like I said, great reception. I loved hearing from everyone. Not only people, saying like, oh, I'm glad that you finally finished the series. I used to watch it as a kid. Like, that was really impactful. But at the same time, I heard stories from people who played these games for fun as children, later ended up picking up an instrument and actually learning it, later playing in real-life bands, and thanking Rock Band for getting them into playing music. I love reading that. Like, I barely talk about that in the video, but reading those stories from people, it was like candy, man. Every day I was just like, oh my God, it was so cool. But let's transition. Let's bookend Ajakes now. Let's transition to my other channel that I launched, my Lego channel, which is Studless. I have had such a blast making videos on Studless. I can get as wacky or as insane with the editing, with the writing, with my acting on camera. I feel like I'm a wrestler or something. Just like shouting at the audience, trying to rile them up. It's so much fun. I'm surprised at the reception. I don't think I was ever going to make a video that would breach 1,000 views ever again in my life. It's like maybe if I got lucky. But some of those Lego videos were doing well. I think like one of them has over 20,000 views or something. They are made in kind of the opposite way that I handle all my Ajakes videos. Like quickly, in a crazy fashion, with me just experimenting with things and not getting so, perfect about everything. This looks kind of weird and stupid, whatever, and we'll put it out there. A lot of the comments that I get in the Lego videos, I appreciate, because one, I think they're very funny. That's where I get like my funniest comments. But two, I'm surprised. I also get like genuine comments of people talking about like their own analytical takes on the Lego sets that I'm reviewing, which I thought like I was going to turn those people away, that they're going to think I was an idiot. But the fact that they're cluing in and giving me their take still, like, I want to make sure I'm replying to those guys because I appreciate that. And it is interesting to hear their thoughts on these sets that I'm reviewing. Apologize, my face is getting so red. My room just gets super hot. I also am probably going to have rosacea when I'm older, so this is just the start of it. It's kind of also a nice way for me to immortalize a lot of the sets that I build, since, like, I just live in my tiny room. So anytime I do get, like, a really big set, I kind of get to, like, build it, have it up for, like, 2 weeks, and then I kind of got to take it all apart. Like, my reviews, my thoughts on all the little intricacies and details of these sets gets to live on forever. So if I'm ever like, oh, remember when I built that mountain observatory? What did I think about it? I could watch that video. And it's funny, and it makes me laugh. Ain't that great? So we talked about Ajakes, we talked about Studless, we talked about my Sonic AU channel. Also, I made 2 other videos on my personal channel. That's where this is too, if somehow you find this. We used to have this thing called Horror Movie Marathon that I do with my friends, where we watch a bunch of horror movies in a row. I wanted to film that since we're doing that in October. And also, I was going to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights for the first time. I really wanted to film that too. So I made it like a little mini Japan trip style vlog from that. And then I also made a Lethal Company compilation. A lot of people have done that, but you gotta make that. There's so many great moments in Lethal Company. I'm actually sitting on a bunch of Lethal Company clips that I just edit together, that I just share in a Google Drive for my friends. Maybe I'll put those in their own compilation, because they'd probably be easy to do, and maybe you get a kick out of them. That might come too. But I made those 2 videos as well. So that totals the 38 videos I had made in 12 months. Yay. I was trying to think of a piece of advice that I would give to younger creators, or a younger me. Something that I've realized within my, 8 years of YouTube, now this 1 year back. The thing that kind of has kept me sane throughout all this is that there's always going to be one person watching your videos, and that is you. So if you service and make videos for that person, you will always succeed. Because no matter what, in the future, years and years down the line, you will always have videos that you love to go back and watch, because you know you made them for yourself. And if you do that, then you're always going to be happy with anything that you put out there. I learned this through firsthand experience with the Japan trip. My 2 biggest videos on my channel have more than 500,000 views, and I haven't watched them ever since I made them, because I know I just made them because I wanted people to look at me. And if I tried to look at it now, I wouldn't see any part of myself in it. But then when I went back and watched the Japan trip, I see this wonderful memory and this project that I created. I see myself, essentially. I was going back and watching that video over COVID, like, unintentionally. Through doing that, I realized if I just make these videos personal, only for me, I think Ajakes kind of ends there. And I think maybe it has. But, like, my love for making videos is only growing. And in the rare chance that someone does see the video, they get to leave a comment and share their story, and I get to read that. And that is ultimately the thing that I strive for most. I do care about the views, if I'm being honest, because it still gets to me. But if I remind myself about that one single rule, if I always focus on making videos for myself, at the end of the day, I cannot lie that I still enjoy my videos. It's not like I made a bunch of videos that were chasing the algorithm and failed, and now I don't even want to look at them anymore. Instead, I have a bunch of big fat videos that I was so excited to make and put out there that I can now go back and watch. And with all that being said, I'm very happy with my 12 months here, my first year back on YouTube. I think if I focused on just trying to grow an audience and make videos that would get a bunch of views, I would have stopped here. I think I would have never continued past this point. But since I have now this catalog of my favorite videos that I've made within this time, I'm excited to make way more. Like, I am excited to jump into this next year. I have so many ideas for videos that I want to get out there. And if I get to share them with you guys, I might get a comment and hear your personal experience. And that's the best part. That is the best part. And I hope in some sense that me making a video and sharing my own personal story somehow inspires you to make your own stuff. If that's a video, if that's a song, if that's a goddamn blog post, if that's just something that you tell your friends personally and I never know about, I'm happy. Maybe I'll make another video like this in another 12 months. We'll see. But I just wanted to make this now so at least I can kind of put all my thoughts into one video and look back at it as I do with most of my videos. So, yeah. If you saw this, thanks for watching. Thanks for following me through all my crazy YouTube channels. And I really appreciate you. So thanks. This is Adam signing off. Goodbye. See ya.